Eddie Sheringham is 28, and after 2 knee operations and 6 months out of the game, he's just happy to be playing at all. The selection of those 3 players in Terry Venable's first declaration of intent in this 2-year cycle suggests that seasoned soldiers are at this sparring stage of the battle ahead of the raw recruits. But that's not to say that it's Dad's army. Number 2, Rob Jones, and number 11, Darren Anderton, are both 22. Alan Shearer is just 24, Graham Lasso 25. So much for the personnel. Here's Trevor Brooking with the formation.
Well, Barry Venison will just sit as an anchor man in central midfield in front of the 2 central defenders. That will allow fullbacks Lasso and Rob Jones to get forward and hopefully give a good supply of crosses for 2 strikers now, of course, and Sheringham getting the first chance alongside Shearer.
Well, on their first visit to Wembley, the United States of America are without the injured John Harkes, but they start with 8 of the players who were the local stars in stripes at the World Cup. The exceptions are number 4, Agus, who played in the victory over England in Boston last year. Number 10, Claudio Reyna, who was in the World Cup squad but missed out through injury. And the goalkeeper, Brad Friedel, whose application for a work permit has been turned down and his move to Kevin Keegan's Newcastle blocked. While that goes to appeal, the midfield player Kobe Jones is hoping to be more successful. He awaits a work permit so he can play for Coventry City. So, how will the Americans play?
A fairly straightforward 4-4-2. I mean, their relative success that they had in the World Cup, I think, was based very much on a solid defensive showing. The 2 central defenders, Leylas and Balboa, were outstanding there, and they get the added protection from Dooley and Sorba as central midfielders who don't venture forward that much.
Sitting behind the England substitutes, the unmistakable face of Paul Gascoigne. The referee tonight, who says he will be applying the FIFA directives to the letter, Antonio Jesus Lopez Nieto of Spain. So away go England, playing from the left. And the Americans in the colourful shirts that they wore for the greater part of the World Cup, when you'll recall they lost to Brazil in the knockout stage. Graham Lasso at left back for England, looking for Sheringham. Not the biggest crowd in the world, Trevor, but it's fallen quite early in the season, this international.
Well, it has. I mean, as well as the USA did as host nation, of course, they've not got the renowned players that away from home are going to sort of attract supporters in to watch them. And so I think main interest is to see how this new look England side develop and if more chances can be created as Terry Venables hopes.
Here's Agus, the left back, to Reyna. David Platt, the England captain, and the familiar figure of Alexi Lalas, who's now playing in the Italian league. The coach was on the phone already. Here's Venison. Tucked back in towards Anderton by Sheringham. Oh. Jones. There are 2 Jones on the pitch, Rob of England and Kobe of the USA. But they're not in direct opposition at the moment. They're on opposite flanks. Ernie Stewart, number 8. He's got Dooley making a run through the centre.
It was a great run from Dooley. If it had been a better weighted pass from Ernie Stewart, he might have broken down the England defence, the offside game. But Stewart is quite often isolated, and definitely in the World Cup they struggled in attack, and that's going to be their problem. You feel at Wembley, can they get the numbers forward to really try and open England's defence up?
There was a mixed crowd reaction when John Barnes got the ball then. Here is Perez for the Americans. They're just at the moment a shade slower to the ball than England. That's in for Shearer. Here's Sheringham. Venison. And now Lasso. Barnes. Well, a section of the crowd has made a gesture towards John Barnes, but fortunately they've been outshouted by others. Here's Agus. Sorba. It's Kobe Jones over there. Well, Barnes will be hoping that he'll just be allowed to play his game tonight. Bora Milutinovic in the raincoat, one of the real gurus of world football. He's been in charge of Mexico, Costa Rica and the USA. While the Americans will put great store by it if one of their number can be seen to score at Wembley. It's a privilege perhaps that isn't afforded to too many of the visiting players who come here. And there goes Darren Anderton. And it comes off Lallis, or does it? No.
He reads the game well, though, Lallis. All right, his first game for Dover in the Italian league didn't start too well, but he read that ball from deep, comes across, waits to see what Anderton's going to do, doesn't dive in, as all defenders mustn't do now, and it just came back off Anderton.
Here's Stewart. A careless ball by Gary Pallister, and it isn't cleared even now. Sorba to Perez, now Dooley. Caligiuri. That's even more careless by the fullback. It was straight to Darren Anderton, and it's got England moving with David Platt here. Shearer. John Barnes is over on the far side in some space. Played square, and Lallis just got in there to put Platt off.
There's a wonderful pass by Alan Shearer, deep. John Barnes, perhaps he'd been praying regularly. He might have been tempted to go for a goal himself with a volley, but he decided unselfishly, as you can see, a great ball from Shearer. Shall I have a volley for goal or put it across? He puts it across, and it just evades everyone.
I thought he was going to pull it back to Sheringham for a minute. That was another option, wasn't it? But the chance goes. And England certainly expected here to force the pace. Here's Anderton. He's seeing quite a bit of the ball, the Tottenham player. This time England's free kick. Rayner claiming it was a dive, but Spanish referee right up with the play.
You can see the initial foul by Dooley there as well, diving in, and it was his heavy touch that lost possession, and that's where they should capitalise. The Americans' first touch in midfield can be a bit heavy.
This is John Barnes, short one to Platt. Barnes again. Now then, Alan Shearer. Well, the flag stayed down. He was onside.
Well, that's the new rule. I think it was tight. Was it offside? Look along the line at the far side. Did he play him on? Probably that far man on the top part of the picture. And I think Alan Shearer, half waiting for the whistle, dragged his shot. There he is over the far top hand of the 18-yard box. He played Shearer on, and he'll be a bit frustrated.
Too. And the Americans are getting caught square, aren't they?
Well, they are, but it was a great individual bit of skill by John Barnes. There's two touches that will do him a lot of good. The first one, a good turn past two defenders, good 1-2, and then a lovely chip, which was just too heavy. David Platt couldn't quite get under control.
There goes Stewart, marked by Pallister.
There's the 1-2, then a little clip with his right foot, and he wasn't much in it, was there? He could have just dragged it down, unlucky.
Yes, the England captain who's got such a prolific scoring record from midfield for his country. Nearly adding to it there. And Barnes is getting a generous reception now after those last two attacks, and rightly so. It's Platt. And it's Shearer. And it might go even for Sheringham.
Well, he hit it well enough, Teddy Sheringham, and that's, I think, the beauty of playing two strikers. Shearer hits a shot, and beforehand you wouldn't have had the second man up to take advantage of the rebound. Unfortunately, straight at Friedel.
Pallister is trotting up into the near post position. Tony Adams goes with him. It's Anderton to take the corner. Well, this is a good test of the USA defence, which was their strength in the World Cup in many ways.
It's just spinning away. Sheringham so good at hitting the ball on the half volley. Either side of Friedel, it would have been in.
Combination between Barnes and Sheringham, and now it's Platt to Rob Jones. Taking on Agus. I would imagine the free kick will be given there.
Bit of tugging going on, and the linesman deciding in the end a little nudge knocks Rob Jones over it, and a free kick.
Well, Barnes has come across, so has Anderton. Adams is up, so is Pallister. That was Tony Adams coming in on the back post. David Platt.
Well worked free kick. Tony Adams starting to go to the near post. He spins out, as we've seen very often for Arsenal, going up. The header drops to somebody, David Platt, no one near him, is it? And quite frankly, bad marking from the Americans there. Plenty of time, hits it on the volley, very close.
Been playing 32 minutes, and Brian Robson, now part of the England coaching staff with Don Howe. And here's Shearer, Sheringham to his left.
Again, Sheringham and Shearer have linked up quite well. Look, released it, comes inside. It's just at the moment the shot's not quite been hit as sweetly as they would have hoped.
Now, we must say they haven't truly tested Brad Friedel yet. About 30 minutes left to half-time. Here's Shearer. They might now. Oh, right on cue, Alan Shearer. That was just what England needed, and just what the game needed. In the 33rd minute, applause from the bench. Congratulations from the captain, who still has a few points to make, but he won't be arguing about the way Shearer finished this. He cut in from the right-hand side. Brad Friedel should have been aware of the danger at the near post, perhaps, but the force of the shot took it in.
Well, great finishing. Layless has backed too far into his penalty area. He had to come to Shearer much earlier. Certainly the goalkeeper at fault at the near post, but also bad defending from Layless.
Oh, Shearer again, suddenly sensing that the Americans are vulnerable back there when he turns like that.
Well, he's just backing into Layless, looking to get the half a yard, which he does on the half turn, just pulls it beyond the far post.
Oh, and they've given that straight to Shearer. Sheringham is off to the left, and Platt goes through the centre. And unselfishly back to Shearer when others might have gone for a shot there. That was Teddy Sheringham. And this could be Kobe Jones. No.
That other England attack, which sort of petered out somewhat, was again caused by Perez dwelling on the ball. He's trying to drop deep and do a few tricks in the ball, but at the moment he's dropping his side in deep trouble.
6 minutes left in the first half at Wembley. England lead 1-0. And Sheringham in possession now. Lasso to his left. Shearer in the centre, Anderton joining him, and Platt. Shearer! Beautifully taken. Applause ringing around Wembley, and rightly so. Alan Shearer, a class finish here. Good cross by Lasso, but he had to get the angle on the header, didn't he?
Well, Graham Lasso, such a good crosser of the ball. This is the Blackburn connection. Comes away from the defender, and this is a magnificent header to actually dive, throw yourself forward and get the power. No chance for the goalkeeper. Great goal.
Well, two very different goals from Alan Shearer. He'll be mighty pleased with both, but the second one, yes, you're right, it will be remembered as one of the best England goals seen here for a while. 2-0 then. And the ice broken now. Barnes.
Shearer getting 2 goals, and I feel the presence of the second striker, although Teddy Sheringham hasn't got in on the act of scoring, does occupy defenders, and it does help Shearer. And I do hope the experiment that Terry Venables has introduced in his opening game this season does be sustained now for the rest.
Shearer now finds Sheringham. Back again to Shearer. This is Jones, but that's floated over. I think as we see this cross again by Graham Lasso, that's the advantage of a natural left-sided player on that side of the pitch, isn't it? And look at this header. Friedel is wrong-footed and nowhere near it.
Lasso is certainly an excellent crosser, of course, his midfield days at Chelsea. That's the sort of service Shearer thrives off. But I do agree with you, the natural left footer, when you get somebody going down that line, and I think that's a big part of why John Barnes was introduced. Up until then, in the first 3 games, there wasn't a natural left footer with Lasso. So Barnes and Lasso can both just whip crosses in without having to turn in and go on their right foot, and it is a big advantage these days.
Gives the side a nice balance, doesn't it, to be able to attack down either flank and get the service in to hungry people like Shearer and Sheringham, who, as you say, has figured in most of England's attacks, very unselfishly, it might be said.
Well, he was the one who released Lasso down the left. He held it up, waited for him to overlap, and you know, so he has played his part as well.
Now the United States have got to decide, do they risk another player forward now? 2 goals down. And there may be more to come. Here's Sheringham. And again, freedom on the left flank. And here's Shearer again. Lallis at full stretch got to him this time. But the threat's not over. Lasso's having a field day at the moment down that left-hand side. This is Barnes. Now Venison. Lasso again, onside. 3 waiting in the centre. Sheringham. Corner.
That was probably the worst of the 3 crosses. That is the second one into the near post. Lalas defends well there. And the other one that's won the corner, though, was probably the worst of the 3. But natural left footer, such a difference when he whips it in early.
Adams comes in. Well, this should give the crowd an opportunity to send England off at half-time with some appreciation. 2 goals for Alan Shearer. That was a header by Tony Adams. 2 goals, in fact, in the space of 7 minutes for England.
Just at the right time as well. Just a bit of frustration creeping in that it was 0-0. Now I think the players can relax. Shearer showing his striking qualities. And probably in the first half, I think one of the picks has been Barry Venison. His first game coming in, sitting in front of the central defence. He picked up a lot of loose balls and spread and distributed it very, very well. And I think he could well keep his place in the squad even when Ince is fit. He's a good cover because he's so versatile.
Yes, indeed. He wasn't actually in the original squad, was he? But the England bench will be pretty happy, I would think, with the last few minutes anyway. Free kick to the States this time against Lasso, who's now got to hurry back. Kobe Jones is pretty quick. That's what Coventry want to sign him for. Ernie Stewart coming in the centre here. That was dangerous. Rob Jones got to it.
Good defending by Rob Jones. Kobe Jones released down the right. Gary Pallister then committed himself. He skipped by him. It was a good cross that cleared the first defender, but Jones got back to make sure there was no problem.
That was their best attack so far. Coming in the last minute of the first half. Little back heel from Perez. This is Reina. Just a touch from Shearer there. Good ball, though, by Sorba to Jones. Here he is, Kobe Jones. And that's bounced nicely for England. It really has. They've got the chance here to break away. The States racing back. Alexi Lalas has run half the length of the field, but he'll have to defend here. It's Anderton. Sheringham just backing off to collect. Here's Barnes. Venison. Lasso. Whipping it in again. It's Shearer again. Oh, good save. Friedel denies Shearer his hat-trick.
Another marvellous cross by Lasso. Look at that ball. Completely opens up the defence. I think Shearer should have scored. He got in there a bit too early and had to head it behind him, and I think he's caught Lalas's arm here. But it's a great cross again. Splits the defence. In comes Shearer. Heads it down. You see, just catches then the head of Lalas as he follows through. Good save, the keeper.
Well, we haven't so far got the electric cart from the World Cup to carry off injured players. It's the old-fashioned stretcher that's come out. We hope it won't be needed. But Alan Shearer certainly took a blow when he headed that. And it will be needed.
Just before half-time, take him off, and hopefully the concussion isn't too bad. I think it was important to emphasise that that initial attack was set up by a great surging run from defence by Gary Pallister, who's just standing over Sheeran, and that's something that I do feel the two central defenders, Pallister and Adams, will have to do more and more, and he did it extremely well on that occasion.
So England will finish the half with 10 men. Shearer carried off, and it's a corner to England. So the goal scorer, ×2, is down on the stretcher by the goal, into which he put England ahead and then extended their lead. Alan Shearer with a head injury in attempting to complete his hat-trick, but at least standing up. The physios there, Alan Smith and Dave Butler, having a good look at the wound. 2 goals in 7 minutes for Alan Shearer, but it could have been 3 there when he bravely attempted that header. And they're still making sure that he's going to be okay. But England are okay, thanks to him, leading at half-time by 2-0. Well, the USA didn't have a decent shot on goal in the first half, and in an attempt to remedy that, they brought on Eric Winalda, who scored with that blistering free kick against Switzerland in the World Cup in the indoor stadium in Detroit. And he's replaced Hugo Perez, and for England, Alan Shearer has recovered from that bump just near the left eye. So Terry Venable's team is unchanged. And start the second half, 2 goals to the good in front of a crowd of 38,629. The official attendance at Wembley, bearing in mind only 23,000 were here to see Greece in May. I think that's a good effort by the England supporters this early in the season. Caligiuri beaten by Platt. Balboa. Anderton starting the second half on the right flank. Again, good control by Shearer, beautifully done. Anderton goes onto it, Sheringham in the centre here. Nearly ran for Barnes, and foot up. Free kick, Barnes has got the worst of that in fact. And England pressing on, the Americans giving the ball away from their own kick there. But a little bit of concern for John Barnes.
It was a great piece of play by Shearer to release Anderton, and when the cross comes in, you can see it's just half and half tackle, and by not going in fully, John Barnes has just caught the studs of Balboa there.
Well, this man's had so much injury trouble in the last 3 years, you almost cringe when he goes down. I remember him being carried off in an England game before with Achilles trouble.
It's very near that area. I mean, it looked a really noxious tackle, didn't it? And just hopefully it hasn't caught the weak spot of the Achilles.
I think it was just before the 1992 European Championships he went down like that and was carried off and didn't play for Graham Taylor in that tournament. And John Barnes, whose selection caused so much interest, is sadly carried off again.
It was a great shame from England's point of view, John Barnes with his international career, but it'll also be worrying for Liverpool, who have made such a good start in the Premier League.
So for the moment, England are down to 10 again. Ironically, the free kick was given against Barnes for lifting his foot in that challenge. That's Venison. Rayner. But I don't think it's as serious this time. And nice to hear the Wembley crowd give him a cheer. So he's back on. Caligiuri. And again, Dooley's in the centre. Winalda, Dooley. Oof, that was Rayner that came through. Nice touch by David Platt to Rob Jones. Anderton. Oh, Lallis brings Shearer down. It's been quite a hard contest between those two.
I know who's ahead on points as well, and there weren't many strikers who stretched Lallis quite as much as Shearer's doing this evening during that World Cup, I must say.
I think one or two in Italy might stretch him this season, Trevor, but as you said, he was something of a barrier in the 94 tournament.
Yes, 5-0 for Padova, and then Shearer this evening. This is the chance that the Americans have, of course, and a shot there might have been a better bet rather than trying to carry it through.
So the England captain, David Platt, is given the yellow card for that late challenge over by the touchline. Shearer coming short. Barnes. Lasso. Anderton. don't think John Barnes is fully mobile after that knock, but he's operating around the halfway line for the moment. This is Lasso. Terry Venables will be thinking about substitutes if he hasn't fully recovered. Shearer working so hard. So hard. Keeping Lallis fully occupied. Barnes again. Oh, he has recovered. Look at that.
He's so exciting when he is running with the ball. It's tied to his foot. His control was superb. His balance. He skips past people. That is why so many England managers have tried to fulfill that potential at this level. In the end, the final cross let him down.
Barnes involved again, and here comes Shearer to challenge the goalkeeper. Sorba for the Americans. Trying to get it back from Dooley. Barry Venison, another one of those unfussy interceptions, which has been very much his métier tonight. Stewart, now then, taking on, well, started to take on Gary Pallister, but didn't get very far. This is where David Platt, the England captain, slid in to Claudio Reyna and got the yellow card from the referee. Now the Americans yet to show that they can really hurt the England defence. They're playing a lot of their football just the other side of the halfway line, but not in the danger zone. Here's Barnes, who may well get there here, and Platt with him, still Barnes. And yet again, Venison. And a real ovation there for John Barnes. Lallis not too sure with that. It's going to be a corner to England.
Well, it's good to hear the Wembley crowd gradually being won over by John Barnes, who's looked hungry, he's looked keen to impress in this new setup. It certainly shows that bit of individual flair that the Americans lack. They just lack that ability to go past defenders and the subtlety, the creative pass from midfield.
Darren Anderton with the corner. And plenty of England men forward here. Flick on, almost found Platt. Back in by Barnes and offside. The score stands at 2-0, which is, of course, the margin by which the States did beat Graham Taylor's England in Boston in 1993. So some sort of revenge being exacted here. But England will look to improve on that in this second half, which we played 12 minutes. Now Reina. Wijnaldum. Sorba. Wijnaldum colliding with Venison, who gets the free kick.
Had an excellent game, Barry Venison. I mean, you know, Venison certainly in the centre of defence, doing that inch job of picking up the loose balls, being tenacious in the tackle, and his distribution has been excellent. He, Lasso and Shearer probably are the three who caught their eye in particular, and of course John Barnes gradually made a quietly impressive comeback too.
Yes, all the good England sides down the years have had a strong tackler in midfield, haven't they? All the way back to Nobby Stiles and perhaps even further. Here's Platt. Here's Shearer. Sheringham. Nice build-up. Rob Jones with Anderton on that side. Venison. Sheringham.
Good build-up, good early ball from Venison. First touch sets it up for the half volley, but just doesn't get over it.
Mind you, it's nice to see Sheringham getting his chance tonight. Terry Venables knows all about him, of course, having signed him for Tottenham from Nottingham Forest. It's come off Dooley, and it came to David Platt. It's a bit of ingenuity from the captain, attempted. Reina's played as well as anybody for the Americans. But they're finding it very hard to get through the midfield. This is Sheringham now. Shearer pulling away to the right. Platt makes the forward run in the centre. That's where it's going. Caligiuri with the header.
Deserving pat there for Caligiuri, because David Platt homing in on the goal. Great positioning by Shearer. What a good run there into space. Well threaded and found by Sheringham. Good early cross, but Caligiuri, look at him in front of Platt. Good defending.
Oh, Sheringham. He sneaked in behind Tony Adams and wasn't picked up.
Not picked up all the way, that's coming across. Clears Ladas and Balbao, who are both marking Adams. Just misses at post.
Wasn't very far wide, was it, from Sheringham? This is Ernie Stewart. Kobe Jones. And Graham Lasso, seen in defensive pose this time. Sorba. Stewart goes for the return, doesn't get it. England can break now. Platt to Sheringham. And again, Shearer pulls wide, takes the defender with him, makes space for others, notably Anderton. Platt's in the centre, being joined by Sheringham. That's Platt. This could be Barnes. Well, it could have come out anywhere off Friedel, really. It went just past Teddy Sheringham. John Barnes with the initial effort. This is Wijnaldum. Reina. Wijnaldum again. But Rob Jones making it all look rather easy. Getting it back from Venison.
Another good flowing move, ended up with John Barnes bearing in on goal. Hits it well enough straight at Friedel, who didn't look too comfortable, did he? Didn't fall kindly.
How do you feel about the enthusiasm in the stadium, Trevor? I've not heard it quite as good as this for an early season friendly for some years.
Well, I think the crowd are encouraged by the shape of the team. You can see a pattern developing, you know, with the back four looking fairly solid, protected by the anchor man in midfield. Venison's done a good job there instead of Ince, and then players such as John Barnes coming back into it, but Shearer with the partnership of Sheringham developing, you can see a shape which is going to re-emerge over the next, 21 months leading up to the European Championship, and they're going to encourage the team to get the confidence that they're going to need to do so well in that tournament.
Fine play there by Lasso, Anderton and Platt, an example of it, and it's on by Sheringham to Shearer. Good turn, and Friedel down again to prevent the hat-trick.
Some good controlled build-up play. Again, Sheringham and Shearer, good understanding developing between the two of them, and you can see how Sheringham's intelligence and use of the ball is helping Alan Shearer because he runs so well off the ball. The second striker, I think, has made a huge difference.
Well, corner to England then. Played short this time to David Platt. Oh, Adams in there! Off the bar! Now then, the flag is up on the far side. The one thing that it won't be is a goal.
Well, as the ball is knocked in, it's just a case of whether the two England players left in there were actually offside when the ball is played, and you have to say, if anyone, it's Alan Shearer, certainly not Teddy Sheringham, who put the ball in the back of the net. Very marginal, but it was Shearer the one that has been flagged as offside. Bad luck on Sheringham, wasn't it? It would have been his first England goal, and that's Lapper coming on, by the way, for the United States. Mike Lapper, number 2, replacing number 4, Jeff Agus. But just coming back to Sheringham, it is bad luck when a goal is wiped out because a colleague is in an offside position. I thought that was one of the reasons for the linesman being told to be more deferential with the flag. Well, he wasn't the one who put the ball in the net, and it's just a case of whether the linesman himself was actually flagging for Shearer as the person he thought was offside, or whether he misread it, and when he decided Sheringham received it, he thought he was offside at that time. But you can see Sheringham's running from a deep position as the ball is kicked, so even Shearer at this stage is level, and so he's onside. It's a bad decision, isn't it?
I think it's a harsh decision there, I really do. I rather think that should have stood. Here's John Barnes, but we may get a third goal anyway because England are rampant at the moment. Anderton. The Spanish linesman on the far side, Juan Fernandez Marin. It was his flag that ruled out what for Terry Venables would have been a satisfying goal, because it was a well-worked set play initially, and Sheringham, who's worked so hard, was on the end of it.
What you can see him encouraging his side to do, and is something now any but hopeful England player who wants to play for the international side has got to realise that he's putting the emphasis on keeping possession, good accurate passing, good first touch, and encouraging the skillful players. And I think long-term that's got to be of huge benefit for the English game.
Yes, I think we would all support that view. This is Shearer, and support for him. Oh, doesn't need it, look at this. Anderton coming in, Sheringham's there. Oh.
Well, shaking their head, probably wondering how they haven't got a third goal, because they have torn the USA defence apart, haven't they, in what, these last 15 minutes or so. Goes past Layless as if he isn't there. Pulled out Sheringham for the pullback, and then he decides to look for Anderton, but good defending on that occasion, and Sheringham trying to hook it in, just can't get over it.
10 minutes to go, and 2 changes by the United States, 3 in fact. Here comes Jurgen Sommer, the Luton Town goalkeeper, for a taste of the action. He'll replace Brad Friedel. And off goes Ernie Stewart, off goes Claudio Reyna. Friedel a bit surprised. And on come the 3 replacements. And England will make 2 substitutions at the same time. Les Ferdinand and Ian Wright joining the action. And the players going off, Sheringham and Shearer. So the striking partnership is replaced. don't think I've ever seen 5 substitutes come on at the same time before, Trevor, but there's always a first time.
Well, the American substitutes at this stage are not going to have any effect on the final outcome. Interested just to see Wright and Ferdinand come on as a pair, as Shearer and Sheringham, who I thought worked well together. 2 good goals from Shearer, a lot of unselfish running, good linking in between the two of them, and I thought Sheringham did well as well. But of course Ferdinand and Wright waiting their opportunity, and of course they've got all these young strikers also trying to force their way into the squad, and that's why Terry Venables needs to have a good look at the strikers that he's got in the current squad at the moment.
Well, here's Anderton, one of those who's played throughout. We've only got 10 minutes, a little less in fact, those who've just come on. But that may be enough time for one of them to register England's third. Having said that, Klopas, having just come on, finds Wijnaldum, who's playing in Germany currently, having had a couple of trial spells with English clubs, Eric Wijnaldum.
But it is in this attacking third that they do lack the ideas. I think if you think how much progress they have made even over the last few years, it's credit to them. They're at this stage of their development. What they have to do now is look to that attacking third and come up with a bit more subtlety and a bit more flair, because you know, to score goals away from the USA at this type of level is something now they're going to have to add to their game.
What they've also got to do is to get this new professional league off the ground in the USA, which FIFA insisted on when they gave them the World Cup. It's due to start, the major international soccer league, in 1995. As yet, I think only 7 cities have been selected. They want 12, and they want some players too. Here's Lasso. Platt. Barnes. Floating it in. Oh, that wasn't a bad effort at all by Ian Wright.
Wasn't a bad effort. It was a great ball from John Barnes outside of his left foot, perfectly weighted. As you can see, Ian Wright does well, comes short, turns Layless, floated over his shoulder, tried to hook it in first time, wasn't far away.
Into the last 5 minutes now.
Lovely weight of touch, and that's why he's been added to the side now as a creator.
Indeed, in that Beardsley role, could we call it? Ferdinand. But he was crowded out there and got it back. Barnes. Platt. Wright. Barnes. Ferdinand. David Platt.
Unlucky, good strike, but again straight at the keeper on that occasion. But again, John Barnes getting the ball, running at defence. He's made a good return.
I don't think you can say there's an England player who's done less than well, but hold on, the States here with a good attack brewing. It's Wijnaldum, and goodness, it was Joe Max Moore that sneaked in there. Just about their best effort of the second half, but at the other end,
David Platt in the end, again, quite a good one for a posy photograph, I think, for the goalkeeper Summer. Terry Venables, I would think, pleased with the overall performance. A bit disappointed, I think, with the 2-0 scoreline, because the sort of play and the chances they've had, England should have scored more, but there's been definite pluses. I mean, the back four hasn't been troubled that much. Lassau's got forward superbly, particularly in the first half, some great crosses. John Barnes has come back, I think, very well on that left side as well. Venison has been a definite success in the anchorman role in midfield. And Shearer, of course, 2 excellent goals, second in particular, and he's linked up very well with Sheringham as far as a partnership. So it's going on, and of course there's other people pushing for places. It's just a case of whether he will dabble with it for the next game, which will be that little bit harder, Romania. But I do like the 2 strikers. I do think the balance of the team looks better than the sort of 5-man midfield, particularly when you think England are going to be at home in a whole of the European Championship, and the onus is on them, whether they like it or not, to be a little bit more attack-minded.
Yes, that's one reason why the FA have been keen to arrange as many home games as possible in this preparatory season for the European Championships, because with no qualification to worry about, it's going to be English soil on which that championship will be contested. Here's Lallis for the States in the closing seconds of the game. Just entering stoppage time now. And this is Lapper for the USA. Moore. Well, precisely the reverse result to the one in 1993 in Foxborough. Terry Venables' England defeat the United States 2-0, the score by which England lost in the US Cup last year. Both the goals from Alan Shearer in a 7-minute spell in the first half, and he could well have had a hat-trick. As it is, Terry Venables' record after 4 matches as the England coach is 3 wins and a draw, and his team have yet to concede a goal.
Terry, congratulations. Another positive step.
Very good, yeah. It's a good result for us. Perhaps we could have had 1 or 2 more goals, I think. We made a lot of chance for ourselves with the movement we had. Some good passing movements, early passing. And very pleased with the performance all round.
When you dominate a game like that, do you hope for more goals? It could have been a hatful.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd like to kill it off and had that killer instinct in the second half. But we did keep on top of our game. When we were attacking, we were ready for the counter-attack, and I thought that was good about our game. We started off a little bit tentative, but as we said, just keep playing and hope that it would come for us, and it did.
The most important thing was the performance, and we've put in a good performance and we've got the right result.
Your headed goal was rather special, as they say.
Tremendous ball in off Graham Lasso. I mean, I've become used to that now. He's whipping them in all the time. I gave him a little bit of stick before the game, said he hadn't done one this season, and he owed me one, so he's come up trumps this time. And I've managed to get in front of Mr. Lallis, I think it was, and get my head in there, and luckily for me, it's one in the back of the net.
Was it frustrating that you didn't add to the 2 goals?
Yeah, but the most pleasing thing was that we were creating chances. I mean, you know, sometimes you create 4 chances, score 4 goals. I think we created 9 or 10 good chances, and unfortunately we scored 2, but it's pleasing to see we're creating the chances.
You got a great reception, and everyone seemed to help you.
Yeah, the crowd were fantastic. It wasn't a big crowd, but they got behind me, and that helped, you know, because I was a bit nervous before the start. You know, I was bound to be really, but they got behind me and everything went well.
It is a very positive step on the road to Euro 96.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we mustn't get too carried away. I mean, we've played the United States of America, who are not renowned for their football, but having said that, they've done very, very well in the World Cup. It was important for us to come out and put in a good performance and get the right result, which we have done.
Every game that goes on, like I said, we seem to get better and we understand that more. And we've still got 2 years to run before the European Championships. 4 games at Wembley, 4 games that we've deserved to win. We drew once against the Norwegians, but deserved to win that game. Teams are going to come and they're going to sit back, like the Americans did tonight in a little way. And we've got to learn how to be patient and not to get frustrated. Because we know that with the movement that we've got in the side, if we do keep a clean sheet there, then we're always going to get a goal.
With your new formation, do you think it helped Alan Shearer having Teddy Sheringham up there to take a little bit of the weight?
Yeah, I think it does. But they share it, they play very similar, but I still want people to come out deep and link the game up, and I still want midfield players to get beyond them. I thought the midfield screened the back 4 well, and in fact we defended the goal very well, I thought, tonight.
Well, they seemed pretty pleased with it. I suppose it was satisfactory, Jimmy. It didn't quite set the pulse racing, though.
No, I don't want to appear miserable, but I'm not on quite the high that they are, and I think there are reasons why so. I mean, the Americans, it's not an easy game, with due respect to them, to get on a high about for the players and be very pleased if they play well and they win. And largely, our defence, the England defence, was untested. I mean, so how can you judge or evaluate the performance when you know there was nothing to judge it against? But on the credit side, I mean, we've learned that Shearer, once again, is a very special player, and Venison came in and did more than creditably, you know, in his first international. So I mean, there were good features about it, and not the least that John Barnes, who may have been under heavy criticism if the game had gone the other way for him, survived all that in a slightly different role and proved that he really wants to be in the England party, and 30 is not the end, but the beginning maybe for him.
We'll look at him specifically in a moment.
Yeah.
Overall, what did you feel about the England tactics for that match tonight?
It showed early on, picked up a ball here, does a lovely little walk pass, playing not on the touchline but just off it, flicks it off, gets it back again, and just watch the delivery there. That was almost the most exciting part of the game. That was a wonderful through ball, you know, conjured up from nothing. And just towards the end of the game, with his other foot this time, just showing the sort of skill that he has. He has a beautiful touch off the outside of the foot. We'd all be proud if we could do anything like that, and Wright nearly gets on the end of it and brings about another spectacular goal. But the thing that really interested me about John Barnes tonight, because it's one thing saying you want to play for England, and it's another thing, you know, doing everything you can to prove to the manager. There's the shot that he takes. That's not what I'm interested in. It's what happens now. Cameraman picks him up late in the game. Look at him chasing back there to get goal side. I want to stay in the England team, he's saying, and I'm prepared to do the work that's necessary to do that.
Well, it's a different role for Barnes, isn't it? I mean, he's not on the wing expected to win the game here, is he? I mean,
slightly different. For Barnes and Waddle, the touchline at Wembley is an icy sort of place where if you don't come off and you get stuck against a fullback without being able to take them on and beat them, you tend to get the crowd on your back. Whereas in the middle of the field, it's a much more fluent opportunity for it, you know, to get in the flow of the game and to show the skills that he's obviously got. I mean, there's nothing better when he's, as Alan will know only too well.
Now, Alan, there's a stack of forwards apparently queuing up to play for England at the moment, but there's one man you couldn't possibly leave out on that show.
And who would that be, Des? No, we should be in raptures about his performance again. We're running out of words to describe Alan Shearer. He is that good. And his all-round game is absolutely fantastic. He comes off here, picks up, and what he's been crying out for is a bit of vision, 60-yard pass into John Barnes, who comes in, puts a great ball in. It's just a pity Alan Shearer wasn't there, because I'm sure he would have finished it off. But he's so strong, and his first touch is terrific. Jones with the throw-in, he picks up, he's absolutely brilliant here. Strength, determination, gets the shot in, and he's desperate and unlucky not to score there. But when he comes off people, his touch is tremendous as well. Tony Adams picks up. Watch this when he comes off. The first touch is all important here. First touch magnificent, and then it's awareness. Plays Darren Anderton in, and again, that is absolutely fantastic. And certainly, you know, you're talking about one of the finest players ever to play for England, in my opinion, in this performance tonight, because he has got the lot. He gets the ball in the corner here, and really, he shouldn't get out. Two men round about him, looks up, comes inside with a burst of pace, and I think this is fantastic. He reads the defender, plays a ball, and it's just begging to be put in the back of the net. And, you know, as you said, there's 5 or 6 centre forwards waiting to play for England, but Shearer
They're not going to displace him.
Brilliant player.
No. Romania next month, Jim. That's likely to be a rather sterner test.
Yes, it is. And I think an indication of the way that match was viewed tonight was the 38,000 crowd. And I reckon for Romania, there's going to be something like a full house, and we're going to look forward to a real competition.
Think that too, obviously, Alan.
Yeah, I think that Terry's had the 4 games. I think England have performed reasonably well. It's just the quality of the opposition. You know, Romania are going to be a sterner test, obviously. And Terry's thrown people in, and I don't really think you can find out what they're made of unless the opposition is of the highest quality.
They'll find out next time.
Yeah.
And you can't find out in the last 10 minutes with 2 striking substitutes, can
No,
you? Really?
I didn't quite understand the point of that.
No.
What was the
I don't
thinking?
know.
No.
It gives them a cap, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be that. I can't think it's that. Maybe it's just to rest the other 2 who both prove what they can do. We haven't had a word for Teddy Sheringham. I thought we did particularly well.
He played quite
Didn't
well.
come off well for him tonight, but the 2 of them look as if their minds fit. You know, Shearer and Sheringham, which is a great advantage.
Finally, Mr. Benners would be most disappointed if you didn't give him a mark out of 10.
Oh, that's very difficult, really. I mean, could I ask my friend first on the right here, a Scotsman, who's eulogising, really, about...
Yeah, don't be too long.
Well, they won, and they won well, so you've got to give them at least 7.
All right.
6.5.
Thank you. Well, now the home country is beginning their